I apologize if there's a lot of reflection in my glasses. I'm just really trying to get this up as fast as possible. So anyway, Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer. It's pretty new. Wasn't released that long ago. Still in hardback. And I got it. If you can see the cover, it's got like feathers and fur, and it looks like barbed wire, and some plants and lightning all around the different, and then on the words, and then on the back, it's got some fur on the fork and the knife there. And pretty much the whole premise for this book is, the writer kind of had like a spotty vegetarian lifestyle along with his wife, and they were having a kid, and they were trying to decide whether or not they were going to raise their kid to be vegetarian, what impact that had on the environment, whether it was a good or a bad choice. So the book consists of 8 chapters, and they are as follows. Storytelling, all or nothing or something else, words / meaning, hiding / seeking, influence / speechlessness, slices of paradise / pieces of the S word, I do, and storytelling. The start of each chapter has some sort of little illustration. This is the first chapter, storytelling. And then on that page it will have some sort of little fact. For storytelling, the fact is Americans choose to eat less than 0.25% of the known edible food on the planet. For all or nothing or something else, this is what it looks like. And the little fact on that page says, modern industrial fishing lines can be as long as 75 miles, the same distance from sea level to space. So they just go on like that. I know a lot of people, when they first hear the title of this book or hear what it's about, think instantly that the book is a just pro-vegetarian right from the beginning, doesn't look at any other points of view, wants to make the whole world vegetarian or vegan. That's actually not the case. I think he does a very good job of representing all sides equally. There's letters in here from ranchers, there's from farmers, from factory farmers, which you find out what the difference is in here. He does a good job of describing things to let you know things that I didn't know, like when you go to the grocery store and you get something and you choose to pay maybe a little bit more for something because it says it's free range, and you think, oh, well, these animals are having a better life, they're free on the range, or, you know, these chickens that lay these eggs are free range, they get to get out, when in fact, by definition, to be considered free range, they just have to have some sort of access to sunlight. So in most actual circumstances, it's just a window in the building that they're housed in their whole lives, and they're considered free range. I didn't know that. So I feel like it's more of an education. In the end, it's not necessarily a diatribe against, well, it actually isn't a diatribe against eating meat. It's not saying if you eat meat you're a bad person, or if you want to eat meat that it's wrong. It's talking about the ways that when we choose to eat animals, when we choose to eat anything, the way we take care of the planet and the world is very important, and that our choices dictate how the world, animals, the planet, everything is affected, other people. I think it's a really good book. I think it's something everyone should consider reading. It's 267 pages. Nothing seems like it's pointless that it's in there. It doesn't seem like he's lecturing people for their choices other than bad treatment of animals. And in that, he doesn't even blame like workers at a factory. If a worker at a factory does something that's cruel, he doesn't necessarily say, well, that person's a bad person. He really gets into factory farming, what it all means, how we got there, how we went from being a world of farmers to now we're all industrialists, and even our farming is industrial. It's a really, really good book. The one thing I do have to say, that as a, pretty spotty vegetarian after reading this book, I mean, I'm pretty firmly on the vegetarian side for myself because of how I feel about animals, because of how I felt about the choices that you need to make. It's made abundantly clear that if you're going to eat meat, you shouldn't support these systems that are cruel to animals, that torture the animals, that care nothing about the animals, that it's all about profit. You should support smaller farms, and in most cases, it's harder to find someone who's raising and slaughtering animals in a humane fashion than it is to just be vegetarian. For me, I know it is. So, but many people in the book that he talks to are not vegetarians, even though they do raise or slaughter animals humanely, or there even are some people who are vegetarians who work for these humane slaughter organizations. It's just a really interesting book, so I think it's definitely worth the time to read. I would give it on a scale of 1 to 5, a 5, not just for the writing, which I did enjoy the writing, I do enjoy his voice and the way he relates things, but also because the information in it I feel like is so crucial. I think in our lives we have to make sure we're making educated decisions on politicians, on laws, on the way we live our lives. I feel like every decision you make should be educated, and that you should make the best decision that you can. So this book will help you make an educated decision in things that will not only help educate you just about what you're eating. It's so much more complicated than that, because the effect on the environment that these farms have, these massive industrial factory farms, is devastating. The effect that we cause to the environment by supporting these farms, the positive effects that we could have if we supported the smaller farms, and in turn infecting the environment, how it affects our health to eat these animals that are pumped full of antibiotics their whole lives so that they don't get sick because of the conditions that they live in that are so unhealthy, so that we intake so much antibiotic that by the time when we get sick with something and we try to take antibiotics, how it doesn't cure it. It goes back showing that this is probably how swine flu, the H1N1, how the avian bird flu, all that stuff got us so bad. We get it from these animals that we eat, or that are factory farmed in such harsh conditions, and the antibiotics, these diseases have morphed because we've taken so many antibiotics by eating these animals on these antibiotics that they don't respond to the antibiotics they would respond to. So it really is more than just what you're eating at that moment. But again, like I said, it does discuss how you can eat meat and still not make the choices that will negatively affect health, the environment, the government, everything, the economy. So, again, after I go off on my rant, I think this book is a 5 worth reading because of just the sheer information that you get, so you can make educated decisions, smart decisions, and I think that at any rate, education is always worth it.